Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic. Time for another comic book review video. We've hopefully all finished our comic books for the week. I certainly have finished my 7 books, I think it was. And now it's time for me to give my thoughts, opinions and review those books. As is always the case, pretty much for most of the time, I'll be doing it in ascending order right up to my pick of the week. And don't forget, I will be talking about the storylines, cliffhangers, plots and all that. So spoilers are in effect. If you've not read any of these books as I hold them up, fast forward the video to the next one, or go away and read that book and come back. You've had plenty of time, come on. Right, let's kick off with the book that I least enjoyed, and it's starting to become a bit of a pattern, I'm afraid. It's Aftershock Comics' Black-Eyed Kids, issue number 13. Now, Beck does do one thing right. Kind of, in that it has this ability to build tension within any particular issue. Though I think this is mostly down to Kodransky and Major's atmospheric art throughout this title. Because Joe Pruitt, the guy who's writing this, he just doesn't seem to be able to build on that. As issue after issue, we kind of get the same thing again and again. We have a lot of people talking, but the story never seems to go anywhere. And it's kind of one of those titles where there are a multitude of characters involved, but you don't feel like you have any investment in whether these people live or die, because they're, at the moment, although these kids do seem quite threatening, their kind of end game, their goal is kind of vague. It's very insular at the moment in this kind of backwater town kind of place. And as I said, all the characters with their family tie-ins, you're not sure who is who most of the time. And I just get a bit confused along the way. I love these Francesca Francavilla covers, though that's not enough for me to warrant keep getting this title. So Joe Pruitt really needs to up his storytelling game, because I just feel we're kind of on a kind of monotone level here, where it's same old. And something like a big crescendo of a story arc has to happen, even if it then kind of goes back down again. But we just seem to be on this pattern of just almost dead. So it's me being that little bit stubborn comic book reader collector, in that I'm just hoping this book will get better, because there are elements that are really good, but the overall package is failing. And I had such high hopes for this book right at the very beginning. It was very creepy. I wanted to know about these kids, I wanted to know about the characters and all their kind of tie-ins to everyone else, but it just feels like it's taking too long. So that's Beck. Moving on to the next one, which is Wonder Woman issue number 26. And I have to say, I don't envy any creator coming onto a book who has to follow such a high profile writer, especially Rucker. He kind of had the job of defining the kind of origin of Wonder Woman amidst all these kind of past origin stories of where woman came from, how she came to kind of outside of Themyscira to us, the general public. So I don't, like I said, I don't envy Shea Fontana at all, but this is the job she has taken on. But it feels more like from this issue that this is just kind of an attempt to hold on to the existing readership until the next new creative team come along, because I believe she's only on for maybe 2 or 3 issues until the next creative team come on and take Wonder Woman whatever direction. So it feels already very much like a kind of filler between kind of creative teams. What she does in this book is continue Wonder Woman's attempts to make the world a better place, helping these kind of encampments of in this particular case kind of these women that are encamped in kind of war-torn wherever, and stopping kind of the big bad men from beating everyone up and killing everyone, and through all this helping the world and making it a better place to live in, you can see Wonder Woman and it's starting to tire. There are signs of fatigue here, and she's not like at her top A game because she won't rest. So it's off to the doctor she goes, and it doesn't look as though the doctor is looking too good herself, and I wonder if this is something that's going to come into play. Is this kind of a virus that is affecting everyone around Wonder Woman? Is Wonder Woman the cause of it? But then she kind of takes a turn from this kind of very I wouldn't say high octane, but this kind of action sequences to this interesting, why is everyone so ill? And Etta comes along and invites her to a wedding. So it's all kind of fun and frivolous, and has kind of connections to a flashback that we get in this story of Wonder Woman as a child and her attachment to this kind of this teddy bear, which the warriors of Themyscira feel is a weakness, being the daughter of the Queen of Themyscira. She shouldn't be enjoying such frivolities, and should be toughening herself up to become the Amazonian warrior that we know she will become. And we see this young Wonder Woman as a child overhearing this conversation and listening to it, taking it on board and getting rid of those childish activities, so she can make her mother proud of her. And then we get to this wedding where all of a sudden there's a bomb. And it just kind of comes out of the blue. Whether, I'm sure it will be explained, the rhyme and reason for this bomb being at a wedding, but the danger, of course, is that this young child is kind of hiding under the table where this bomb is, and it's got like 1 second to go. All very exciting, but I don't know if this is really going to play very much into the Wonder Woman story as kind of an ongoing story. As I said, this just feels very kind of fillery. XMen Blue issue number 7, and it's Secret Empire tie-in time. So really, let's not get too worried about what's going on in here, because whatever craziness is going on in here, however weird this issue feels, I'm sure it would be resolved and redacted with the use of this cosmic cube thing that I think's going on in Secret Empire. But what we have here is a story revolving around where the kind of Hellfire Club has made a deal with Captain America, who is now heading Hydra, that they can have this kind of separate nation called Newtian, where humans and mutants can live side by side, you know, Xavier's dream and all that. But there are some kind of dark dealings going on here, as we see this encampment, this prison of mutants who don't want to play nice. Let's put it this way, their mutant powers don't fit in with the whole mutant human harmony. So it's up to our young X-Men to break these mutants out and basically give the Hellfire Club a bit of a problem. It's It's very strange because you've got this new kind of Hellfire Club of Zorn, Sebastian Shaw, the older version of Beast, and Emma Frost. Now, the inclusion of Emma Frost is at least interesting to me in the sense that this is the first time I've seen Emma since Secret Wars, where everything got changed and we had all the different characters of the Marvel multiverse being thrown in together on just our normal 616 Earth. And her allegiances from this issue alone, because I've not read anything else that she may have appeared in, are dubious and a little bit grey, to say the least. She seems to be on the side of the bad people, but at the very end of this, Emma Frost makes herself known to Scott, the younger version, and it's kind of reminiscent of the days when Emma was dating the older Scott, and there's a phrase in it along the line of it's always been the two of us, talking about herself and Scott and their relationship. And this is the thing about this issue, there are far too many kind of similarities that I've read in the past. The use of Newtian is certainly something that I'm sure I remember from the Ultimate X-Men universe, the second volume, where Kitty Pryde was building, a nation where mutants can live without the rules and regulations of the humans. She had her own kind of little state and the problems that occurred on there, and that feels very much like that. And then obviously the relationship between Emma and Scott, that's very reminiscent of kind of like the Grant Morrison days with his new X-Men. It all feels very familiar, and basically I'm just waiting for these tie-ins to finish and we can get back to X-Men Blue proper, and Colin Bunn can continue with what has been, for the most part, a really fun, fresh, almost, I say fresh, but there's back to basics version of the X-Men in their kind of younger days, but in present times. Oh, very complicated. My next book, which is just as crazy and complicated, but has a little bit more of a fun edge to it. It's issue 3 of Bug, The Adventures of Forager. And as I said on Wednesday, I missed out on issue 2, but I'm sure I will find that and pick it up somewhere along the way. I think my comic book guy was going to say he was going to get it for me. And I did worry, well not worry, but I did wonder whether I would be able to pick this up having missed an issue. But having read this one, I have a feeling that this kind of issue is the norm for the title, where we have this mute girl and her talking teddy bear dragging Bug through random scenarios, meeting up with various Kirby creations, and madness ensues. And that certainly was the case for this issue as well, as we get singing yaks, we get Atlas the Great, one of Kirby's DC creations. Allred throws in some new gods, boom tubes, crystal mountains. It's all good, silly fun, but nothing really more than that right now. There doesn't seem to be, at least from what I've read, and that might be because I've missed the second issue, but there doesn't seem to be a coherent thread of what is going on here and why all this is happening to Bug. Though there is an element in this issue that this isn't really Bug. Bug died many years ago in his original state when he was in New Gods. So there's that kind of interesting twist to it that the Allreds have thrown into it, and they stick to that kind of the kind of 60s retro mod style that they are really known for. But as I said, it's a fun book to read, but I just, again, the concept, the issue after issue feels, too similar, and we need to give this a bit more a richness in the storytelling, some coherency in in what this kind of mini-series, because I think it only goes to 6 issues, but some sort of coherent storyline that will wrap up in the 6th issue and kind of explain what has been going on in the previous issues. But again, fun and enjoyable and silly. As we move closer to my pick of the week, these are now my top 3 books that I read over the last 4 or 5 days. At number 3, it was issue 26 of The Flash, written by Joshua Williamson. And this continues the running Scared storyline, where we have this kind of future story where Thwain, our Reverse Flash, has captured Iris, taken her to the future, with Barry as the Flash kind of chasing after, hoping to rescue Iris. The big reveal in the last issue was that Thwain revealed the Flash's identity to Iris, and so this is kind of the backlash of what was going to happen next. The bomb has been dropped. What is going to occur next? And Williamson just runs with this. Sorry about the pun, but there is no stopping Williamson on this issue. He's doing a great job in keeping the momentum going as Thwain, our Reverse Flash, is continuing to kind of break down Barry's spirit and his life in general, making him self-doubt, and that's kind of seeping in and realising that he is going to have to be forever on his own if he stands a chance of, you know, being focused on saving the world. But Thwain has a lot more sinister reasons for this. As Thwain shows Barry this even future version of Flash where he's had children with Iris, but this is not the loving family unit you would think they'd have, or Barry would hope they would have, as Flash is off continually saving the world. It doesn't leave a great much time for kind of parental bonding time. No daddy, son and daughter playtimes, and that has turned his kind of son and daughter against him, and they're trying to destroy the world that Flash has helped create and become this kind of utopian society. As I said, Williamson just keeps mounting the momentum here. He does not let up for a page, as our Flash eventually kind of resigns himself to the fact that he's just going to have to leave everyone behind, and allows Thwain to seemingly trap him in the negative Speed Force, where he apparently cannot escape, and he only agrees to this if he allows Iris to go back to her own timeline and live. Of course, Thwain's a villain and he'll agree to anything but not mean it, and so after he traps Barry in the negative Speed Force, he goes back for Iris, ready to erase her from time. But I don't quite get this whole negative Speed Force. I don't know if this is a new concept that Williamson has thrown in or it's been used before, but either something goes wrong or this negative Speed Force has an effect on Barry, and as he reminisces about all the things that have ever gone wrong in his life, he realises he needs to go back to kind of have a proper goodbye, and he starts making his way back, but the Speed Force changes him into a more seemingly deadlier version, where the big cliffhanger here is he arrives back in the kind of future time where Thwain is about to kind of kill Iris, but he is out for Thwain's blood. All very exciting, all very kind of dramatic and fun. It was a very exciting issue of Flash. I want him to get over this self-doubt, this moping around that we've seen Flash do in kind of a lot of the previous issues, because Flash always seemed to me to be very kind of an optimistic character. However bad things got, he was always there with almost like a quip or something to brighten up the kind of deadly scenario or the kind of mopey attitude of everyone around him, and he seems to have kind of reversed that, and he is now the kind of mopey character, and I wanted to bring him out of that and become the fun superhero I kind of recall him always being. So what was that issue that just missed out on being my pick of the week? And it was so close, but just being pipped at the post in at the number 2 slot. It's Deadly Class issue number 29, and there is a lot going on in here. Remember when I was talking about Black Eyed Kids right at the start with all the characters? There probably is just as many characters in here, but I feel so much more invested in these characters and what their gameplays are and all the kind of intertwining storylines. As right at the top of this book we've got kind of Shabnam and Grogda still trying to precariously hold on to their seats of power within this school for assassins. We've got Quan, one of the new freshmen, revealing more of his ties to the Yakuza and Kenji, but we see that he's kind of bitten off more than he can chew, and on top of that for him he now has the added threat of Victor, who is still continuing to make moves on overthrowing Shabnam and Grogda to become the kind of the big high power of the kind of student body within this school. We get a little brief glimpse of Zenzali, who is kind of Saya's mentor, the Ethiopian, and once again we see that she's not a girl to be messed with, as she kind of takes one of the kind of that high school council to task and puts her in her place. But the bulk of this issue is the kind of blooming relationship that's beginning with Helmut and Saya that just makes this issue so good. Saya's guilt from the kind of freshman massacre of the kind of first volume, I guess you'd call it, is still weighing heavy on her as she mopes around next to Billy's grave, one of the freshmen that she had to kill in the kind of final exam, as they called it, of the last volume. So it's kind of up to Helmut to kind of alleviate the mood and show Saya that there is still life to live. And this involves burrito slingshots. And of course, if you've read this, that stolen kiss right at the end. And it's these nice moments between all the kind of the double dealings and the violence that just elevates this this title from so many others. And it's a balance Remender does so well. And obviously on top of that, with Craig and Boyd doing some of the great art and the colouring on this book that has always been stellar from the beginning, it just makes the perfect package. I say this every time a Deadly Class issue comes out. This is a book that I highly recommend. It's almost 30 issues in, but there are plenty of volumes in trades to pick up for you to catch up on. And I don't know, so much good stuff that I could say about this book. It's been solid, if not excellent storytelling from the very beginning. It's had twists and turns. Some people haven't been particularly happy about certain characters' returns, but I think the way Remender has written it has, in this comic book universe, makes sense. However hard Remender tries to place it within an era, the 80s that we know, there are still those comic book sensibilities within it, so you can have characters that have seemingly died, and the weight of that death and them coming back alive doesn't feel like the reader has been cheated, in so much as, you know, the characters in DC and Marvel continually die and come back to life again. It doesn't feel like that. But Deadly Class, one of my continually favourite books of this time. And so it's pick of the week time. If you've already seen my Wednesday comic book haul video, you'll have been ticking off all the issues that I've read and probably worked out that, of course, my pick of the week this week is Kill or Be Killed, issue number 10. And it's Ed Brubaker, another master storyteller who so deftly manages to intertwine so many different storylines and continues this tale of a kind of possibly psychotic vigilante in Dylan and his continuing struggles with having to kill people to stay alive himself. This issue kicks off with our detectives and the police force trying to work out what went down in the woods where Dylan had killed one of the Russian mafia members, and they kind of get it all wrong as they have no clue really what happened. The kind of crazy scenario that happened in, I think it was the last issue, if not it was the previous issue to that. And it's Lily, one of the main detectives, who gets her kind of first contact with Dylan in a roundabout way, though not realising obviously yet, though that's surely coming down the path, that Dylan is in fact our mystery vigilante, as she goes to the funeral of Rex, the drugs dealer who was involved in the whole Woods shootout. And gets a photo of our Dylan. Dylan, after the funeral, decides to go and take a break from everything from life and goes back to his mum's to kind of chill out and reassess the situation that he's in. But wherever Dylan goes, our kind of monster demon is not far behind, and there's this confrontation between him and this demon that potentially may be in his mind or might be real, where Dylan seems to have had enough, and he's kind of like confronting the demon and just saying, look, had enough, take me now, I will not kill again. But the demon is very tempting, as demons are, and kind of plants the idea in his hand that you're not done with me yet, you will kill for me again and again and again. So Dylan goes back home after this break and coincidentally meets up with Kira, and we have the talk of the meds that he's at the moment off, because that's the reason why he was going to see Rex in the first place, to get some more. And there are confessions to make from Kira when she was hidden in his wardrobe while he was having sex with his current girlfriend Daisy. And this of course makes it that much easier for Dylan to push Kira away and not have to reveal everything that's going on with his life. And then the final twist, which is so good and so interesting and makes you, the reader, really think about this extra layer that might be happening here, is that he goes to see his girlfriend Daisy, who at the moment is kind of an art curator, and she's putting on a show. He doesn't know exactly what until he gets there, and he sees that it's all his kind of father's artwork. We've had touches of it in past issues where we've had his kind of sexy horror, sci-fi, kind of pulp noir covers that we've seen on the covers of, you know, books of the 70s and such, like the 60s and 70s, and all his artwork is in this kind of art house, and he comes across this one particular portrait that his father's drawn, and in the background, what is there? it's the demon, which kind of has a little twist there now. Is this demon more of a family curse? Is there some hereditary psychotic episode that the men of Dylan's family has, and now it's his turn to take it on? It certainly has me thinking more and more about the nature of the demon and what it could potentially be. Again, whether it is just some sort of mental affliction that affects his family, or is this, as I said, a demon curse that follows the family tree down from father to son or son to daughter, whatever. But just great storytelling by Ed Brubaker. You just can't talk about this issue without mentioning Sean Phillips and Elizabeth Brightvice's immensely beautiful, well detailed, well realised, atmospheric artwork. I've not seen these two do as good work as they are doing on here. Their work just gets better and better with each of the stories that Brubaker throws at them. They really up their game with not only each story but with each issue. And again, another title that I can't highly recommend enough. Please go pick this up. Make sure this is a book that goes on and on. As Brubaker has already said, he wants Kill or Be Killed to be an ongoing title rather than have a limited time for him to tell the story, which makes me wonder where this could go. So, with that, pick of the week, Kill or Be Killed. That's me done. That's the comics and my thoughts and opinions of them. I hope you had fun. If this is your first time here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video and comment down below. Join in with the conversation, and I will see you on Wednesday with a whole stream of new comic books to show off. Until then, bye bye.